we're talking about. This is an Aquarius full moon, August 19th, 2024. We have Uranus in an exact alignment to this full moon. It's wild. And Uranus is such a rebel yell. It's a rebel yell from the deep gut of the universe saying, yo, more. We want something different. We want something better. We want to make the world a better place. And how do we do that? Well, maybe this full moon is a time where we can start to see it, but it's going to have some friction, right? Because we have the square to Uranus. Now, Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. Yes, it rotates differently. It has just all sorts of irregularities to it, and it just does things differently. Not only is the full moon happening in Aquarius with that connection to Uranus, but it's also the same day as the T-square between Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. Lots of stuff going on. One other thing before we start, when I pulled up the chart, it's Aquarius, right? Full moon. So I was looking at it, and of course, anytime I think Aquarius, that my mind immediately goes to the song Age of Aquarius. And looking at it going, OMG, you could put the moon in the 7th house. And Jupiter has just aligned with Mars. They were in a conjunction. And what if that means that peace is going to guide the planets and love is going to fill the stars? And this is the beginning of the Age of Aquarius. I don't know. I mean, I think the Age of Aquarius is flowing very slowly like a glacier from the Age of Pisces. It doesn't just happen. But these little sign points, these little signposts of astrological connection is an opening and say, hey, look, this could be a Aquarian idealistic time. The rest of that phrase of the lyrics of the Age of Aquarius, harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding, no more falsehoods or derisions, golden living dreams of visions, mystic crystal revelations, and the mind's true liberations. Aquarius. It's kind of beautiful, really. It's pretty. Okay. So Uranus brings change. This full moon is Aquarian, and these truths that might come out make you feel uncomfortable at first. But in the end, if you wait and have patience, you can see that may be something that's clearly set up to rock your boat and could eventually set you free in some way or another. If you're thinking about this full moon metaphorically, I want you to imagine you have your closet that's just packed with clothes and shoes and things like knickknacks and just packed with stuff. And it feels like overwhelming to look at your closet because it's just got everything in there. And do you remember that book? It was a really famous, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago now, but it was The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, Japanese author Marie Kondo. And it was about sparking joy. Like you hold the item and you look at it and you say, do you spark joy in my life? Yes, I do. It does. Obviously it does. So I'm keeping it. Sparks joy. Okay, so you have your closet. In that process, you're supposed to pull everything out and put it all off the shelves, everywhere, everything, and in the middle of your floor. And that is a total mess. So even though your closet was messy, now your floor is messy, and it's even worse than before. And you might start feeling frustrated and wonder why you even began this project. And as you're sorting through it, because you get a second wind, and you're sorting through that clutter, and it's a lot like that, what's happening with this full moon. So it might feel chaotic and uncomfortable at first, like when all your crap is on the floor and you need to go through it, but you got to process it and discover that there are some things you needed to get rid of, some important truths, maybe some treasure, and create room for something better in your life. But first, you have to go through the mess and the cleanup. This morning, I learned about somebody new. His name is Rollo May, and he was a psychologist and an existential philosopher who explored the nature of creativity and the role in personal growth. May's work emphasized the courage that's required to embrace the unknown and that transformative potential of creativity. And all of that just screams Aquarius full moon with a connection to the Leo with the courage and the creativity of Taurus and Uranus, this genius, a lightning strike flash. So I have a few of his quotes that I'm going to go through and add into our Aquarius full moon talk here. So the first one is, creativity is the process of bringing something new into being. The newness of creation is not always a matter of the object itself, but it's often the relationship between the creator and the object. If you're like me and you like to create a lot of things, you've you know what this is. It's not necessarily the finished product. It's the process of how to get from point A to point Z when you've got your creation at the end. The creation is sort of like, okay, well, there it is. In the end, it's great. But it's more about the relationship you had to the process of creating it that changes us, opens up new avenues. And this full moon is kind of like that. It's a challenge, it's a surprise, it's a little bit tough sometimes, but it can help us see things that we might have missed before. And we don't get that with a shortcut, just going from point A to point Z without the process in between. It's the journey where we get to learn new things. Now, Uranus does often feel sudden or disconcerting, especially if we're not ready for it. It's like, ooh, what is that? That feels uncomfortable. But a lot of times deep down, we do know. We have a sense that there's something that needs to be changed, a sixth sense that something needs to shift. Creativity is a type of courage. It involves the willingness to be vulnerable and open oneself up to the unknown. So this full moon is a time where we can embrace the changes and have an open mind. That's very Aquarian. And this discomfort, if you know about it, just can be a little more patient with the discomfort. The most creative individuals are those who are not afraid of failure. A failure, especially in creative processes, can lead you to revelation. And that's okay. Failing is okay. Not being afraid of it, because getting up after the failure, that's where the power is. Aquarius is the way of getting back on the horse and seeing like, okay, that was a failure, but I could do it this way. And that's the innovation. Let's get a look at these Sabian symbols for the triad. We have the sun, moon, and Uranus that we're going to look at. So the sun comes in at Leo 28, many little birds on the limb of a big tree, focusing upon optimal opportunity. This is James Burgess. No matter how far we advance, life will always throw up challenges and examinations. The realized person is not excused from such tests and struggles. It's just that they've learned from their experience how to focus the mind and how to affirm optimism without ignoring or denying the issue at hand. Such focusing is the optimal operation of choice. Trying to do too much would stop us from doing anything especially well. So a bunch of birds on the limb of a tree. I just got a bunch of new birds, a bunch of little chicken babies, and they do bunch up together. It's kind of cute. Life is always going to throw up challenges. It's always going to be giving us some sort of test or another, but it's about the mindset that we have, of growth mindset perhaps is best, to say, okay, I'm going to give it a try, and I'm going to try again, and I'm going to get back up. I won't do my Rocky impression, but it's that. It's that. Next is the moon. Moon comes in at Aquarius 28, a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. That's an interesting flow of energetic, from the tree limb with all the birds to the tree being sawed down and cut into the supply to keep you warm during the winter. Expanding perception in order to see more deeply. If nothing else, Aquarius, Uranus, that's what it does. Expands the perception so we can see more deeply, more broadly. Uranus is the first planet that's not visible without a telescope. It does things in a way that we have to think a little harder to understand. It sees beyond what we see. So tapping into Uranus' power helps us see a little bit beyond the obvious. Here's what Burgess has to say. Working in a forest to make a generous wood pile is a wonderfully fulfilling experience. It requires mental clarity to employ machinery, usually camaraderie between men, foresight, and muscular strength, and it's profoundly enhanced by the knowledge that the task's result is to offer warmth to one's family and community. If the task is undertaken only when the weather gets cold, then it's too late, because there's a process to go through, including allowing a period of months for the wood to season, to dry out. We need to remember in springtime that winter is coming and to do whatever's necessary, even though it feels non-urgent. Okay, let's go on to the third one. Uranus is at Taurus 28. A woman past her change of life experiences a new love. That's Rudyard, so that's kind of the original. Burgess says it, woman pursued by mature romance. So it's a little more PC, I guess. Limits of the physical body need not stop us from staying alive to new possibilities and opportunities. The sense of a time-based linear degrading capacity is refuted. We do not need to grow old and die off, but instead we have the capacity to find a new beginning. For example, we can fall in love, even when this is driven mostly by the heart's joy in sharing, rather than sexuality and procreation. Okay, that's taking it pretty literal. But if we think about more allegorical, think about just the fact that maybe you've been doing something the same way for years and years and years. And now there's something new coming into your life that's unexpected and it's blossoming and it's like falling in love again, regardless, but in a totally different way. Not so much about a passion of the body, but a passion of the heart. Food for thought. As you navigate this full moon in Aquarius, think about what's changing in you, what's changing inside of you, and what you might be resisting of that change. That's Uranus's main job. Reflect on what Uranus is trying to show you and the challenges that can be leading you towards growth. I've saved one more Rollo May quote for you for last. It's the one that got my attention in the first place. It totally encapsulates this Aquarius full moon. If you do not express your own ideas, if you do not listen to your own being, you will have betrayed yourself, and you will have betrayed your community in failing to make your contribution to the whole. That's very Aquarian. Uranus and Aquarius in general say, just be yourself. As much as you can possibly go to your authentic limit, be yourself authentically. Don't be afraid to move further into your individuality, into your individuation, because potentially that's the whole purpose of everything, to become individuated, to become a unique top-level version of whoever you actually are. And clearly, that's a great thing. You're uniquely made, you're beautifully made. And that serves the community, it serves the world when you lean into your unique beauty. And that's in your birth chart if you want to know more about it. I like you just the way you are, and I hope you have a beautiful full moon. If you go out there and see her, woo, this rebel moon, this rebel yell, she's a pretty one. All right, and I'll talk to you next time.